Alrighty guys, so in this video I just kind of wanted to set the scene, and here's the thing, we're all kind of waiting on Thomas, right? With the poll that they did, was it last month or some time ago, the main character which a lot of people voted for was Thomas, and obviously he is National Hunter #1, and the one thing which I mentioned was I would love to see him in game, but I personally don't think now is the right time for him to be put into the game. Although if they choose to add him into the game, I mean, I won't complain. But I think there's a right timing for him to be released. Now, with where everyone is at right now, with everyone's mindset, a lot of people are leading to say, he's going to be half anniversary. He's going to be half anniversary. Surely he's going to be half anniversary. So, revisiting the roadmap, so half anniversary is in October, right? If I'm correct in saying. And this is where I've seen a few people kind of say, yep, Thomas, half anniversary, I'm saving, clear the way. We're going to be getting hype on the half anniversary. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to tell you that the release of Thomas, it's going to be next year. I don't want to be that guy, but I have to put it out there so that everyone is aware. And I'm not, look, as much as I would love to get him near the end of the year and whatnot, but we've got things moving on. We've got arcs that we're going into in December, and so the release of Thomas, you're more than likely, we are more than likely going to be expecting him round about in between January to March 2025, if that's how they're kind of looking to schedule it. Now, the only reason why I'm mentioning all of this is because clearly right now the developers are going through the story itself and they're keeping on track. So like for them to drop Goto Ryuji when the Jeju Island arc happens in December, for those that are readers of SOLOLEVELINGSKR, then you would know that this is perfectly put together with the release of the arc to the corresponding character. And so, oh wait, I should have actually mentioned this beforehand. Well, if you guys do want to read Solo Leveling, all of the chapters, I'll leave a link down below, and then you can just use this to kind of read all the chapters. So coming back to the schedule itself, so just to kind of re-jog my memory, because what I wanted to do was I kind of went back within the storyline and just kind of checked on when characters came about and when was their most impactful moment for them to be then added into the game, or when they could be added into the game. Was there a more hype period within the show for the character itself within the storyline where the team working on SOLOLEVELINGSKR could deliver it in a big way for us in a content perspective? And so going back, so technically speaking, yes, in September could we see a glimpse of Thomas? You're absolutely right. Storyline wise, yes, because in the period of while we're fighting Baron, Thomas did come to Korea. Now, it wasn't anything too crazy. It was literally just Amiga talking back and forth, and then he flew back to the US. I'm not going to go further more into it because I don't want to kind of ruin it for you guys. So, of course, we could expect an image, an AI version of Thomas, whatever, right? Just kind of something for the storyline to kind of introduce the character. But in my eyes, that doesn't solidify in any way for him to be a playable character. For me, that's not it. That isn't the moment where I believe Thomas deserves to be introduced as a character. In my eyes, it's actually after the December content, after the Jeju Island arc, because I think to those that have read SOLOLEVELINGSKR and to those that know about it, I think it's the moment where it's Thomas versus Jinwoo. Once that fight ensues, I think that is kind of like the best way, because at that point you do see Thomas find it out. You do see him in his armor form. You kind of get the full glimpse of a National Hunter level #1, or #1, yeah, National Hunter level. There you go. And so all of that takes place after, and so it's furthermore looking like a 2025 release. Could they be cheeky enough to release it as a New Year piece of content? it's a tough call to make. I can't see it happening. I think at the very least it's probably going to be looking like a February or a March release. If they choose to release it in January, then fair play. But that is kind of like the most impactful moment, I would say, and the best way to kind of introduce Thomas. So I hate being that bearer of bad news, but I just kind of wanted to break it down for everyone in terms of storyline. That yes, technically speaking, when the Baron content releases being chapter 19 to 20, at that very moment, then yeah, we could get a debut of Thomas, because that's kind of when he debuted, when he came over to Korea. But I think for the most impact for Solo Leveling Rise, it would be to hype up that fight between obviously the main MC and Thomas himself, because that fight was massive, and that will then correlate to him being a playable character, soloable character, leading into a playable character, which all in all means that, again, I apologize, but the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to be a character releasing next year. So it's a bit of a weird one, because obviously they did the voting poll. I feel like at that point, putting Thomas's name in the mix of things was a bad idea, because it's just like, hey, vote whoever you want, and the person that wins the vote will prepare them early, you know. And it's just like, yeah, that doesn't kind of work out, unfortunately. You know what you know what it feels like? I feel like with them releasing, or like Go being the next character in August, of course, that's kind of like them just being like, yeah, let's forget about the poll that we did, and just yeah, that's the kind of like the vibe that I'm getting, and it's fair play to them. I think this is kind of more of a suitable route to take. But if anyone is thinking Thomas is dropping an anniversary, no chance. I can't see that happen. It's 100% going to be next year. So sorry to be that bearer of bad news, but if we're going with storyline, and I'm going off from the linkage between like the story that they're releasing to the content that we can get our hands on, or characters, etc., and kind of everything working as one. I think the half anniversary is 100% going to be an original character. I'm actually going to go with that. So that kind of makes sense to say that Thomas is looking around about either a February or a March 2025 release. I don't think they could release him in January, but it would have to be... Oh, they could. I would say 50-50 in January, but either February or March 2025 is when we're going to be expecting the release of Thomas. I'm just going to say that. That is the best reality I can give you to anyone that is waiting for the big boy himself, the #1 national hunter himself. Well, technically it's Jinwoo, but anywho, I'll leave it there. That's all I wanted to mention. So yeah, half anniversary character. It's going to be an OC, so we'll see what happens here. But like I said, technically speaking, the debut of Thomas does come in line with Baron, so they could surprise us in October. I'm just going to put it out there. But if that ain't the case, then February, March 2025, with a 50-50 chance of it being in January. That's all I'm going to say.